Hey sweet peas, this is Abby. In today's video, I am showing my planning routine or my planning setup in my B6 Scribbles That Matter Tarot Journal. Always gotta start with a little bit of tea. I was just recently diagnosed with COVID, so I have a little bit of a humidifier going. It actually turned out to be making things worse, so I decided not to keep it going. But in this video, go ahead and make yourself comfortable, find a comfy, cozy spot to sit. I'm not going to be doing too ton of a voiceover today because I still have some voice consistency issues that I'm struggling with. And we'll just get to show and share my process for setting up my weekly tarot journal. All during this video, I may hop in from time to time, but all through this video, I am confronting decision fatigue surrounding which pen do I want to use, what layout do I want to use, what setup do I want to use. And I've made the decision going forward that I'm actually going to try to revert it back to being as simple as needed, as simple as possible, so that there's less decisions to be made, less details to fuss over, less areas of getting things correct, getting things right. I have to go test it first. Less perfectionism needing to be achieved. So here you can probably see me flipping around, trying to figure out what do I want to do, how do I want to go about doing it, and I just feel like I was wasting a lot of brain space, a lot of time, and making the whole process in itself less enjoyable. And that's just not what I want for myself. That's not what I want in my time with my tarot journal. I love my journals. I love writing. I love connecting with our guides, guardians, and ancestors. And I really don't want anything to take away from that. So part of this process, and looking back now, I'm recording this voiceover a couple days after having recorded this film. And looking back at it, I'm recognizing those moments of decision fatigue and just needing to make too many choices. We already make so many choices every day, every day, every day. Anything I can do to make that a little bit easier or less choices that need to be made, the better. Especially with my brain. I have ADHD like most of the planet these days, and I've learned systems, processes, and routines to help with consistency, to help with strategizing, game planning, goal setting, and all these things. And making it simple is the biggest tool that I've ever had. So anytime you're trying to implement a new hobby, implement a new routine, implement a new habit, making it simple, starting at its most simplest components is the ideal first step for anybody who struggles with consistency. ADHD or not, autism or not, whatever spectrum of neurodivergency that you are connected to, keeping it simple is usually the easiest. And when it comes to a bullet journal or a tarot journal, I find that I want to have so many options because I want to play with color, I want to play with cards, but all these options are making it less enjoyable to do. So if I could give anybody some wisdom, excuse me as I cough, if I give anybody some wisdom, a straight edge, a good one pen, the color black, a good one set of tarot cards that suit the needs that you have emotionally for that time, I think we should leave it at that. I love incorporating Oracle. I love incorporating decorations and stickers and details, but having a neurodivergent brain that spends a lot of time finessing the details, I'm just going to remove the need for those details. So that's what we're going to do. I think here I'm just trying to double check that I want to continue with the layout that I'm doing. And I decide to change it slightly so that that second line below the margin midline doesn't go to the vertical line on each side. So trying to create a little bit of breadth in the layout. And I'm about 3 or 4 days into the spread now. And what I've recognized looking back now is, again, I'm still struggling with the need for structure and limitation. I'm still struggling with the need for space and minimalism and essentialism. I think is what it's all coming down to, is that need for essentialism. And if you don't happen to know what that philosophy is or that way of thinking is, it is just basically focusing on only that which is essential to any given thing. Especially because I work from home, I work for myself, my time, while I have it as my own, it goes in a lot of directions. And for me to get the quality of work done that I need to focus on only that which is essential. And fussing over what pen to use, how close to a margin am I going to be, is just to me decisions to make. So these are the cards I pulled last week. These are the Spread Machine Oracle cards. And I absolutely love having these as part of my practice. I don't really want to get rid of this yet, but I do think I'm going to be putting them aside to focus on incorporating more ancestral elements into my tarot journal, since that is kind of where my heart is anyway. I'm experimenting with the idea, or, throwing it around at least, of incorporating a conversation with like personified shadow. So that I may do, or I may like schedule it in for myself where one week I do ancestors, the next week I do personified shadow, or maybe I talk about how to deal with my shadow with my ancestors, all that kind of fun jazz. But here I'm just writing the days vertically. Again, trying to freaking decide, do I want to go across the page horizontally, or do I want to go stay on one page for one part of the week and then move to the other page the other part of the week, which is what I ended up doing. Working in that journal now, it's fine. It's making me want to get a date stamps so bad because I'm getting tired of sketching in the decorative date to the journal, or to each journal space. I don't really have that kind of time, it seems, or I do, but that's not where I want to spend it. So I'm considering getting stamps, and I'm also considering just getting rid of the need of a wide decorative date like that. I really liked it that week that I did it, but I think I need to come up with a different solution or let it go. Here you're looking at my month of February, the tarot forecast I've created for myself. And I think I'm about to pull the deck of cards that I'm going to be using for the week. Here I have found my Brady Tarot. I really like this set of cards. It was the cards that kind of called to me today. It's a nice, thick, I don't even know what the weight, the paper weight of this is, or the grams, but it is a delicious tactile experience. Again, being a neuro spicy person, we'll go for that. Tactile sensations matter. Sensory experiences matter. And having a soft textured set of cards is really important. And so the way in which they shuffle for me is a priority. And this one, along with a few others, are of equal, thickness of card, but also have that same butter soft shuffling experience. And at this go, I made a point of only choosing one card per day. Sometimes I have the room or the bandwidth to allow for multiple cards per day, but in this go, I felt blessed just to be able to make the time to come out and record it. So I wasn't going to fuss it too much with, too many layers, too many details, too many nuances. And looking at this calendar spread again and over the last, couple days, again, thinking about essentialism, thinking about how can I minimize this so that it's taking less away or interfering less with my day. I'm going to create a smaller calendar setup for next month. And I actually get to plan that out today. Forgive me if you are hearing this background noise. I am struggling with ants in my very special tree house. and we've called an exterminator. They're going to be here tomorrow, actually. But in the meantime, I'm trying to protect my 16-year-old Fukian tea bonsai tree that my son got for me as a thank you gift. I'm trying to protect it from these ants because the last time this tree was here, or the first time this tree was here, it had an infestation of aphids. And did you know that if you have aphids in a plant and insects like ants come and find your aphids, they will farm your aphids because your aphids produce a sweet substance that the ants actually use. So while that is wonderful outside of my treehouse, it is terrible inside of my treehouse. I do not want my beautiful Fukian tree to be harvested by the local oh god, no, they can't call them arachnid. The local ant wildlife. We'll call it that. Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to keep them at bay. I'm calling the exterminator is already on its way tomorrow. It just happens to be in the middle of sessions. It happens to be in the middle of, trying to care for these other plants. So it's making my life a little interesting in a way that I don't really like. But back to the tarot cards that you're seeing, I am basically writing in the cards. What I was asking the cards to do is to share with me an energy outlook for each day. Now that my life is a little less stressful, I feel better equipped to see in advance what the energy of the day is going to look like. And I write that card into each day, and then I pull that card into my weekly spread and kind of use that one just to kind of get an energy of the day, but also I use that to kind of add color or add flavor, not even flavor, add more depth to the question that I ask myself each day. And so here I am just writing in the cards that were pulled into my weekly forecast so I don't have to kind of, flip back and forth. And this is another reason as to why I'm understanding that I don't need as wide of a spread. I don't need a 2-page spread. I could probably get away with a 1-page or a 1.5-page monthly spread for my tarot forecast. So I do think that's what I'm going to be doing next week. Another thing that I've been fussing with that's been annoying me is my handwriting. For whatever reasons, my handwritings are usually just fine. I've loved my handwriting since I was a teenager. I've worked really hard to cultivate it a particular kind of way. And in the last couple of days, I think this is also aiding or adding into this decision fatigue that I've been coming up against. Deciding how I'm going to write my letters has been stressful. Like, who else on earth gets worn out by the style in which they write? Who does that? So I have to laugh at myself a little bit and also be equally frustrated because this shouldn't be, or I feel like I'm going to judge myself. I feel like I shouldn't have this stressor, but I do. So I fuss and pick a pen. I fuss and decide on a handwriting style, and it's just too many decisions. So here I am going into my Spread Machine Oracle. These are the expansion decks that she created, that the artist created. Kimberly San, I believe, is her name. Yeah, I just picked up a copy. Spread Machine Oracle, the Change expansion set, and the original deck. I believe it's the Spread Crafters Oracle is what it is now. And on the original edition, it was the Spread Machine Cards Oracle. I decided not to use all 3 copies of the deck. All 3 editions. She has the Change, the original, and the Quest. And the Quest just felt too heavy for what was going on for me this week. So I just kept it with Change and the original. And so I was pulling out which ones were going to be on which day. And so I had the original on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. And then I'm using Change on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I do think next week I may play with the idea of using the deck, but not using that many, editions of it. So I'll probably just stick with the original just to make it easy for myself. I don't know, I might play with it a little bit before I make the spread, because I want to, we were just talking about a moment ago, explore the idea of either talking to my shadow self or talking to my ancestors regarding, whatever. And these cards are excellent for framing a question, framing a conversation. So I'm not asking the same conversation or the same question over and over and over again. That does have a place, and I do believe it has a space, but I haven't quite decided if I'm going to remove that detail, because if I think about it, we're just talking about what is essential. What is essential is the coming to these pages. What is essential is shuffling my cards. What is essential is having that one-on-one conversation with my ancestors or myself. I can have that conversation without this deck, but I do believe that it adds a little bit of framework. However, it is not necessary. And so because it is not necessary, that's not essential. So maybe I will get rid of it. And maybe I will just, have a one question that I ask myself all day, or all week, excuse me. I'll have to think about that. Looks like I got everything written in. And I'm saving the cards. I love stashing the cards up here so that I can revert to them, because I do have a little bit of a topic expanse outside of the keyword. And I like being able to revert back to that. And here I am already trying to decide between pens. What do I want to write with? What do I want to write on? How do I want to set this up? And it's just too many decisions to make. Even the location. Where am I going to put this pen? That was just too many decisions to make. Am I going to keep this pen with me? Am I going to put this, away? Because what I've learned to do with this particular journal is I leave it stored where I use it the most. And I tend to use it in bed, so I have it stored by my nightstand. Now that it's by my nightstand, I have a bunch of tarot decks over there by my nightstand that now I'm starting to realize too many decisions that need to be made. So I'm going to filter down to one deck that lives there while I'm doing this part of the practice. And that's what we're going to do. Looks like we're all done. Zipping things up, putting the cards away. Definitely wanting to leave things neater than when I found it. Not always successful, but we try. All right, sweet peas. Thank you so much for listening to me rant and talk about essentialism and ADHD and tarot journals. I do hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I look forward to seeing you again here soon.